Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
We'll give you guys an update on how our March Madness bracket is. We got a break until Thursday. Plus, we're going to kick off our show with the guest that was supposed to join us Friday. Masquerade of the Poet will be joining us at 7:30, followed by Make You Laugh Monday. We'll get some comedians in there about 8 o'clock. And then we'll talk some more basketball with our guy Snacks headlines over the NBA. Of course, in March Madness. Plus, we've got a new highest paid wide receiver in the NFL announced this morning. Plus, you can call or text in anytime throughout the show, 661-842-2000.
So we now know why Kenneth Walker didn't get his money. They were trying to work out Jackson Smith and Jigba's money. $168 million for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, NFC Offensive Player of the Year this year, so it's well-deserved. That's a lot of money to be put in the wide receiver room right now, and your team was very balanced, and that's kind of how you got to the Super Bowl, in my personal opinion. But we'll see what happens when it comes to the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks, and their sale is still going at the moment. I think it's still going. I'm not 100% sure who is the leading candidate to potentially buy the Seattle Seahawks, but we'll get into that and much, much more later on in the show. We got to start with the Sweet 16, though. Did you get to watch much of this weekend, my friend?
A little bit.
I mean, night 2 of round 1 was pretty much through the chalk. I mean, I think there was one upset win, if you can count it. It was Iowa over Clemson. Then we move to the round of 32. Very exciting basketball all weekend long. I was really disappointed to see teams like St. Louis go down so easily, but they're going up against number 1 seeds. And we got one number 1 seed get knocked off yesterday. Not really the surprising one, in my opinion. I think we all kind of saw Florida as the weakest number 1 out of all 4 of them, but they were still last year's national champion. They still deserved all the respect in the world. And they came back from down, I believe, about 14, 15 points in this game. It took Iowa a last-second shot with 3 seconds left to really pull off the win, 73-72. And now we can honestly look at probably the biggest Cinderella possibility left on the board. I understand Texas is still there at an 11 seed, but the likelihood of Texas getting past Purdue right now, it's really up in the air. I like Iowa's chances against Nebraska much better than Texas's. But at this point right now, the Sweet 16 is set. In the Eastern Division, you have Duke against St. John's, and then we have Michigan State and UConn. South, you have Nebraska and Iowa, Houston against Illinois. In the Western bracket, you have Arkansas and Arizona, Purdue and Texas. And in the Midwest bracket, you'll have Michigan and Alabama, Iowa State and Tennessee. I don't know about you guys, but seven of my possible Elite 8 are still on the board. I am so upset with BYU, but look, I took some advice from a trusted family member. It is what it is. That's part of March Madness, baby. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But as it sits right now, I think this really is going to be a great Sweet 16 starting on Thursday. My biggest thing with this entire thing, though, is you look at the conference breakdowns of how this really started. The SEC came into this tournament with 10 teams in March Madness. Big 10 had 9. Big 12 had 8. I mean, there is another conference that had 8 as well. I believe it was the ACC. ACC right now is completely in shambles. There's only one team left, and it's Duke. We all kind of saw that coming. But when it comes down to the conference breakdowns, the SEC not really living up to what we thought they would. The Big Ten absolutely living up to what we thought they would. 6 out of 9 of those teams are still in it. But something was brought up to me over the weekend that I wanted to float to you, my friend, and all the listeners. Feel free to chime in, 661-842-2000. With the thought of conferences like the SEC having 10 teams in the tournament this year. A lot of people are upset because obviously we're closing out a lot of the smaller schools. I know a lot of small school fans that are really hoping that something gets changed in the next year or two, especially with the expansion being talked about. Maybe one of those changes should be a cap limit for how many teams can be allowed from each conference to make the tournament. I think 10 teams for one conference is kind of wild, especially since the SEC really outside of Florida, not that impressive. Alabama last night, pretty impressive. But that, again, I don't know what I get out of them from game to game. And at this point, a lot of these smaller schools have shocked a lot of people. I know that we talked about the dwindling of Cinderellas due to the money that's being put into a lot of these teams. But as it sits right now, should we not kind of, open the doors for more of these schools to at least get an opportunity? That is what you claim you want with the expansion, is for more of these schools to get the opportunity to be part of the tournament. So should we not have some sort of cap? I mean, 40% of the teams from the SEC that you put in there made it past the first 2 rounds. That's not very great, in my opinion. Now, again, the Big Ten, that is what it is, 6 out of 9. The Big 12, 3 out of 8. The ACC, again, in shambles. So should we have maybe a limit to how many teams get put in per conference? What say you, my friend?
Nope.
No?
I think that's what they're working on. I think that's the whole reason of the expansion of more teams, and I think it's coming. I just think that that's the only way they can fix what they think is screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a March Madness that starts in March but ends way deep into April.
Right.
But I mean, the more basketball, the better, I would expect. And I mean, with that many teams that have a chance to play in the tournament, they're going to get their chance.
Right.
And I just think that that's just going to be another topic that pushes it forward.
And I know people are probably listening right now thinking the money aspect of this is why as well, because these bigger schools bring more money. That's obvious. But I'm just saying, if we're trying to make it so more schools and more students and more of these kids actually get to have the opportunity to have this experience, should we not put up maybe like a 8-team cap? No conference can have more than 8 teams in the tournament. That would open up at least 3 spots right there for smaller schools if we did that this year.
We could say it, and then they get blown out by 60 points, and be like, okay, well, that's maybe why we didn't go into the smaller packages. But I still think the NBA or the NCAA are looking at the options, and more teams, more money, more games.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they step away from it?
And as it sits right now, your Sweet 16s, we have 3 number 1 seeds. All 4 number 2 seeds make it. 2 of the number 3s, 2 of the number 4s, and then we have 4 seeds between 5 and 11 right now. So obviously, like we said during the beginning of this, the top seeds are the top seeds for a reason. And some of you may be right, maybe just the amount of money that they pour into it and get these players to come over and play at these schools. But as it sits, the Cinderella stories are ending. We have two schools that probably could consider a Cinderella, Iowa and Texas. But outside of that, everybody else who's in this part of the tournament should technically have been here at some point or another. What was the biggest highlight to you over the weekend, though, my friend? Was there any game that really stuck out? I know we talked about Florida obviously going down yesterday, which was huge. But, I mean, my personal opinion, St. John's.
That was the one.
St. John's, well, and Iowa, really, if you count them, because both of them making their first Sweet 16 since 1999, and St. John's being led by one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time, and Rick Pitino. They have a solid shot here to take down Duke in the Sweet 16. They really do. And it's really going to come down to, in my opinion, which one of these teams gets coached better. It's really hard to outcoach Rick Pitino. So we'll see what happens here on Thursday. Or actually, that one might be on Friday. But yeah, it is Friday's game. But is there any other game that you were looking at?
Not from over the weekend. Those were the 2. I mean, that was the 2 the matchups that were, I mean, it didn't break my bracket. I am looking forward to the Michigan and Alabama game, because that will ruin my bracket. And if any team that I've hated more over the years that have done this over and over to me, not really in basketball, but hey, they can strike it up again. So I've got Michigan winning it all, but I do not want to play Alabama.
Kudos to Alabama as well for being able to stay so just on top of everything with the Aiden Holloway situation going on right before the tournament. That had to have been a massive distraction for your team. But to come out and blow out a Texas Tech team last night, that was pretty dang impressive. I will not deny on that one. And then the other one that was a weird blowout that I didn't expect either was Iowa State over Kentucky. Handing Kentucky their biggest loss in tournament history. No, I'm sorry, in their program's history in the tournament. I apologize, I misspoke. The biggest loss for the Kentucky Wildcats in their program history in the tournament. I believe it was 19 points. It was just a lopsided loss. And coming off such a weird win for them as well. That's one of the things I want to talk about with Snacks was the game between Kentucky and Santa Clara. If you're watching that one and how it ended, how the coach for Santa Clara was trying to call for a timeout and wasn't awarded said timeout. I want to get obviously Snacks' thoughts on being a referee and how he believed that should have been handled. Was that a miscue on the ref's part, or does the coach, take blame for that? Because if they got a timeout out, or if they got the timeout, they might not have gone to overtime. You never know. So we'll see what happens there. But I agree. I think that one of the biggest games to look at in the Sweet 16 will be Michigan and Alabama. That's going to be really impressive, or it's going to be really competitive. And then the other one I'm looking at is Arizona and Arkansas. See if John Calipari could pull off some magic in his own right and potentially pull off an upset here against the Wildcats in Arizona, who have been on top of everything. But to be fair as well, they really haven't played much up until now. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the Wildcats. As it sits right now, though, has your favorite shifted at all? I know you said you have Michigan winning the whole thing. I have Arizona. 7 of my 8 spots for the Elite 8 are still open, so I'm kind of excited about that. But is there anything in your entire bracket that you saw that you're kind of worried about?
No, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a problem with Michigan and Alabama, but that would ruin my bracket for sure.
Really?
But I've got 6 of my 8 and all 4 of my final 4 are still in there. So I'm sitting all right. I'm looking at the standings, and people that have never played March Madness, they'll blow up my phone. Oh, you do a sports show. Oh, I'm kicking your ass in brackets. I'm like, dude, you get 1 point and 2 point for the first round and second round.
Yeah, it's like, calm down there.
Look at the far right where it says total available.
Yeah.
Like, I could smoke you after, when we get into the Elite 8.
That's
so don't
really
worry. Just relax.
That's really where you're getting most of your points
Right?
here is in the next couple
they
days.
They double and they triple. But
again,
no, I had a crazy-ass weekend. Before Saturday, we went out to the Well for the comedy show. And then Sunday, we went out to eat Saturday after the show. And I woke up Sunday with my throat swollen. I had an allergic reaction and spent about 4 or 5 hours at urgent care. So
what in the and we started with the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
what's wrong?
I was watching it on guys on their little on their TVs in the waiting room.
What did you eat?
I had some noodles. I had some leftover noodles from my wife. It was fine. I had a good
What
night.
are you allergic to?
I am not sure.
Oh God, that's always fun to find out.
And they couldn't find out anything. I passed all the tests, but they put that tube down my throat and give me a big ass steroid that knocked me out. But I had 2 meetings at the Woolworth basement with 2 artists.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can't cancel. So I'm just gonna but it was scary, dude. My wife had to drive me to urgent care, and I couldn't breathe.
I'm gonna tell those artists, sorry, I'm gonna send somebody in my stead. I had a medical emergency. I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Like,
you could have swelled up right in front of these 2 and dropped.
I got my shot and I let it kick in. And
talk about March Madness.
After my meeting, I went home and crashed. I got up and watched the last 2 games or 3 games that were playing last night. But of course, when you get up at 3:34 in the morning, you want to be in bed by 10. I was up until 11:30. Those steroids, I don't know what the hell they put in those steroids. But 1, it would knock me out. And then 2, I was bouncing off the wall. I'm like, what the? Yeah. Can we just do the show now? Let's go. Let's go. But no, I'm looking forward to the Sweet 16. There's going to be great matchups, and there's always going to be that one upset. I don't think it'll be from the ones. I'm also looking at that Houston game. I know Houston is high on my radar, but their game, I believe,
Illinois
against Illinois, that could go deep. I don't think it will.
With Peja Stojakovic's
But every once in a while, you mix those things up, and we got plenty of basketball to talk about with Snacks once we get in there, because it was also an eventful NBA weekend.
hopefully your guys' brackets haven't been fully busted. I know there's no perfect brackets left after that Tennessee win yesterday. So I mean, as it sits right now, if you really went with the favorites, you're fine. And I don't know if it's really going to change. The way I keep looking at these games, the way I keep looking at these teams, I mean, you're right. The Houston Illinois game does give me a little bit of the heebie jeebies just because the number one against number two, and there's really not a whole like avenue of talent that's different between Houston and Illinois. I think they're very much neck and neck in that area. But I think that we have to take into consideration here that this might be the way you look at the March Madness tournament going forward. It really is. Because
Those
again,
twos and threes.
ones, twos, and threes, man.
Mhm.
3 number ones, 4 number twos, and 2 number threes and fours. I mean, again, that means there were 4 teams that got into the Sweet 16 that shouldn't have, if you really think about it. Because the way they structure the bracket, the top 4 teams in each side should get to the Sweet 16. That means 4 teams that were not in that category made it to the Sweet 16 out of all 16 of them. Again, if you're a fan of these bigger schools in basketball, this is great for you. These bigger schools are going to get a ton more money. They're going to get a ton more attention, a lot more talent. But if you're a smaller school, this is terrible for you because even the schools that are in the 11 seed are massive schools. Texas, the Longhorns. You really think they need help recruiting wise? They got Matthew McConaughey. All he has to do is show up to the guy's house, say, all right, and he's already we're headed to Texas. We're headed on. Let's go. So at this point, smaller schools are absolutely besides themselves just solely because of that.
Well, aside from the brackets and looking
Yes.
at these 8 matchups, which one would you rather? I mean, there's a team I'm rooting against. I'm rooting against UConn because everybody ahead of me has gotten UConn. So I'm like, okay,
I need Michigan State to win that
that
game.
would be a hell of a
regardless.
win.
I would love to see Coach Izzo pull this off. And again, another matchup between 2 fantastic coaches, and that game will come down to which team is better coached. I believe in Coach Izzo, but also Dan Hurley has gotten there many times as well, so it's really hard to count him out. If there's any game that I'm looking at that more than likely, I'm sorry, let me backtrack here. Are you asking which one's going to be an upset watch here, or what are we looking at? Okay, upset watch, Nebraska. As nice as it's been to see Nebraska win their first 2 tournament wins in 130 years, this Iowa team just took down the national champion and did so in convincing fashion. Although they only won by 1 and it was a last-second shot to give them the win, don't get me wrong.
They shouldn't even have been in that game.
No, never, ever should have been in that game, and they were up big at one point. They were up so big, it pulled me away from the other games and said, oh, Iowa. And I cannot wait to see what they can do against the Nebraska team. I genuinely think that this is a Cinderella story that people need to pay attention to. Iowa might be walking their happy butt into the Elite Eight and might be doing so in convincing fashion. It's really going to be fun to watch. And can you imagine a world in which we could potentially see Iowa, Iowa State, Michigan, and Michigan State? That is a possibility. As wild as that is to say, it is a possibility right now. So if I had to pick any of those games right now to watch out for upsets, I'm going to pick Iowa over Nebraska. Real quick, before we have to get to our first break of the day, and our guy Joshua should be in here. Hopefully should. If he remembers, he's supposed to be in here at 7:30 today because I did not text him yesterday. That's on me. But I lied, Sparky. I watched the flag football tournament, so you didn't have to. And we don't need a single NFL player to win gold.
Yep.
We don't need a single
They've been
one.
saying it, dude.
We don't need
Team
a
USA has been
single-
telling us that since the beginning.
Let me tell you what the MVP did. And mind you, this is the quarterback, Darrell Duche, that we talked about a couple months ago that went viral in 2022 because he claimed he was better than Patrick Mahomes.
On flag football, he is.
In flat football, yeah, he absolutely is. 8 for 8 with 67 yards and 3 touchdowns. He ran 6 times for 76 yards and 3 more touchdowns. And then he caught 5 passes for 79 yards as well. Is this guy the Shohei Ohtani of flag football? Like, are we about to just murk everybody? This is going to be interesting. And for those that didn't watch, yes, there are certain rule changes that made it a little difficult for NFL players. It's very much like the NBA players playing the Euro game. It's something they just got to get used to. The coaching staff for Team USA even said if they really put the effort into it, they probably would be the best of the best in the world, but they would have to learn the nuances of the game,
Like
what
pulling
actually
flags.
makes it different. Shoot, Devontae Adams, you see what he was doing? Like they did drills of pulling flags, and he was perfect.
Yeah.
It was great to watch.
A lot of them weren't, though.
No, not at all. Most of them couldn't pull a flag to save their life. Logan Paul was an absolute defensive liability. Honestly, Luke Kuechly was an absolute defensive liability. Yes, I'm not lying to you. The former linebacker for the Carolina Panthers looked absolutely out of place. I realize he hasn't played football in a couple years, but my God, man. And maybe that was the reason. Maybe that's why it went so skewed one way, because a lot of these guys were retired. It was Tom Brady and Gronk and all these others. But you still had Saquon, you still had Joe Burrow, you still had Jalen Hurts.
Burrow's like, I'm playing in the Olympics after this.
That's fine.
He's hooked.
But my friend, I don't know if you're actually going to play.
You should be a backup.
We got Darrell. We don't need you. We got a guy already. I'm telling you, man, 2 years, U.S. is going to run through every country, no problem, without an NFL player. Now, does that mean they're not going to play? Of course, they're going to reach out to the NFL and pull guys like Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow and probably Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. But in all reality, just like they showed us on Saturday, we don't need them. We really don't. And it's impressive to say that alone. But I mean, the Wildcats, that was Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels' team, go 1-2. They lost twice. That was Kyle Shanahan's led team. Unfortunate for the two of them because apparently they can't win a ring even when it's flag football. And then the Founders, that was Grady, Gronk. What the heck am I saying? Brady and Gronk and Sean Payton's team. And Gronk left with a hamstring injury, I guess. He was just kind of pulled off the field unceremoniously, and I was wondering what was going on, but I guess he pulled a hammy. But again, it looks like we don't need a 50-year-old Tom Brady to win gold. We don't need any of that. We have every bit of the talent already on this team.
And USA. Brady being competitive in the post game said, I'll be practicing. I want to play in this.
Yeah, you're not going to.
Okay, dude. You don't win everything.
Look, man, I'm sorry. It's just we don't need it.
I did watch the highlights and I was like, damn, good for them, dude.
Odell making a fantastic catch in the back of the end zone. That was really cool.
And Beckham in the post game was saying that he was hoping that this would prove that he can come back and play in the NFL. I get it. You're a great receiver, but I don't see anyone, pulling up flyers to pick up. Maybe the Dolphins, maybe they get Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. I don't know. They need receivers, but overall,
that would sell tickets at the very least.
Overall, what did you think? Besides, we don't need an Olympic NFL team. We have an Olympic team.
I was more pleasantly entertained than I expected myself to be while watching this, but at the same time, I'm still looking at it like this was just a glorified scrimmage. And to be honest, I was just waiting for somebody to clean Logan's clock and vice versa for Tom. I really was.
Well, that was going to be my next question because more rumors came out of Bleacher Report this morning that there is some meat to the bone of Brady and Gronk being at WrestleMania in a couple weeks, and that this was one of the promo steps because how rarely can you get Logan, Gronk, and Brady in the same position and same spot?
And Logan obviously stirring the pot before the game, threw it out there. He's like, I'm on the field. Where are you two? And I'm like you're actually going to fight these two. Calm the heck down, boy. But I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised, especially with all the trash talk that's been going back and forth between the two. If this continues after this, 100% it's happening. But even if it does, the more I think about it, he's not going to take a bump. Tom Brady.
I would love to see it, but I don't think he'd do it either. That's why I think that's why Gronk's there.
Exactly. He's gonna throw Gronk out there. Gronk's gonna spear some guys, and they're gonna go, "Yeah, Raiders," and then we're all gonna walk away. That's what's
in Vegas.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
he can't lose. He's got to sit up front.
We say that all the time, but let's be honest, the celebrity sometimes does take the L depending on the celebrity.
I mean, WWE fans would eat that up.
Oh yeah, especially with all the trash talk and stuff that he's been doing. Somebody's got to give him a bump. Just one. And I don't mean like he's got to take a suplex or a
Mm.
pile driver, although I would love that.
I'd be happy, just as happy as
Shoulder
Dan
check him.
Housen coming out here and curse him.
Exactly. Like shoulder check him. Like I want Braun Breaker just going off the ropes a couple times and just going bing and just shoulder check him onto the mat. That's all I want to see. That would be completely fine with me. I just don't think we're ever going to get it because there's no way Pretty Boy Tom is actually going to take a bump. There's just no way in hell. Let's take a break real quick. We're supposed to be talking to my guy Joshua Bordeaux from Masquerade of the Poet right after this. He was supposed to be with us Friday, but due to some issues, we were unable to have him. So he was, graciously able to change it to today at 7:30. So hopefully we'll talk to him, plus much, much more. And today is the day the Honor Flight Open over at Bakersfield Country Club. Come out today. I believe we start at 11. You can get there as soon as 10. Come donate to a great cause, an Honor Flight, and help send our veterans back to Washington, D.C. We'll talk about that and much more right on the other side of this break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, FM 12:30 AM. I just got word from Josh. I think he is running behind again, so we may have to talk to him a different day. But we have plenty more to talk about out of the world of sports over the weekend. Did you see this story about Cam Scatterbo?
Yes,
So
that was last week too.
yeah, and it kind of catching more flack because mom went to Twitter to defend baby, but she did. She went
Hey,
to Twitter to defend her baby.
my
I
mama
can't
bear would do the same thing.
exactly. I can't fault her for that. Although I do have a little bit to say about it, but it is what it is. I'm not criticizing mama for what she's doing. But if you didn't hear, Giants running back Cam Scatterbo is under a little bit of turmoil right now for a quote unquote tasteless joke he made on a podcast a couple weeks ago. The podcast was the Bring the Juice podcast with Frank Delina. And Cam made a really, really bad joke about CTE and asthma. Said CTE wasn't real and it was an excuse for players, and that people with asthma should just breathe air. That's literally what he said. Is it's literally breathe air.
It's been a week in
And I
Bakersfield.
said, Cam, like,
How
like
about
don't
you
get,
just talk about things you do understand,
that's
bro?
what I'm saying. Like, buddy, you of all people shouldn't be talking about CTE. Let's be honest.
You're up next.
You're exactly the way you play. You're going to be learning a lot about it here in a couple months. But the asthma thing, that was kind of weird as well. And I did catch like a little bit of sarcasm in it as somebody who I'm my second language is sarcasm. But I mean, Mama went to Twitter after he went to Twitter and apologized for everything, said it was a tasteless joke. He apologizes and he hopes that he can, learn some things from this and become a better person. It's a great PR answer, more than likely. I guarantee you Harbaugh called him and said, "Big dummy, what the hell did you just say?" It's like, all right, we're going to get our PR guys on this to write you a tweet, and you're going to release that tweet, and you're going to say, "I'm sorry."
And then shut up for the rest of the offseason, please.
Exactly. And it's like, I may have you shut down your podcast too, just because. But Mama went to Twitter and pretty much defended her baby, saying that you can't please everybody. And if they knew how often he ran to go get Mama's inhaler, they would know he was being sarcastic. And I was like, here's the problem with that, Mrs. Scatterbo. We don't know you have asthma. Ain't nobody know that. How are we supposed to know that? So don't just assume the whole world knows that your baby has been around asthma their entire life. It's still bad on his part. He has to own up to it. He should never have said it to begin with. And I hope we could all just chalk it up to a young athlete saying something stupid. And honestly, just learning from this that everybody's going to get offended by everything you say. So just don't say it. Be a Tom Brady. Just don't say it. Smile and say, yeah, that'd be pretty crazy, huh? And that's as much as you need to get into it. You don't need to be making jokes. Like, you're not a comedian. You're not going to get grace because of a bad joke. But this was just so funny to me just because I saw the clip and I immediately thought, there might be a little sarcasm in it, but I get why people are upset about this because that was a really stupid joke to make, especially in the world of football where CTE is literally the biggest talking point right now. Is trying to figure out how to stop that. I don't know. What were your thoughts on this, my friend?
It's one of those things where maybe we take too much wording out of these athletes,
True.
actors, actresses.
We do hang on
It's
their words way
I
too
mean,
often. We have to
really,
remember they're athletes.
if I wasn't listening to the podcast, so I wouldn't have caught it if if it wouldn't have said something stupid for them to run with.
If someone didn't make a clip out of it, I never would have known he said
And
it.
he could have went into the asthma talk about his mom, but we will never hear that part unless we really want to hear that podcast. And a lot of us don't really want to hear that podcast because we got the clip of the week out of it, and now we're running with it. I personally think it's just one of those things when you have 24-hour, podcasts. Now they're on, video streaming apps now. Now you can watch them. And I think, it's a lot of nothing, but you got to watch your mouth when you're making millions of dollars in front of all these people. They're going to run with anything and everything you say.
Literally breathe air. That is just the wildest statement to say about anybody with asthma, especially if your mom had asthma. If this is true and what she is saying is 100% factual, that she had an inhaler and he had to go get it for her, how would you not like understand how asthma works? I don't get it. You're literally around it your entire life. You didn't ask a question to your mom saying, "Why do you have asthma? What's wrong with you?" All right, not what's wrong with you, but what's wrong? How do you know?
Yeah,
Is
what's
there a
wrong
way to
with you?
fix it?
You can't breathe air?
Exactly. It's like, really, dude?
You stupid fool.
And you're gonna learn what CTE is very quickly. You keep playing
Yes,
football the way you guys
he's one
play.
of those guys
I
that will
love
probably
you.
get it.
Don't get me wrong, love Cam Scattaboo. But half the jokes on the internet about Cam is that you already got it, dude.
Yeah, he might have it.
Like, I don't know how you could say it's not real and it was an excuse. Like that's just wild to
Other
me.
news in the NFL. What do you think about this JSN contract?
Again, like we said at the beginning of the show, well deserved, especially after being the NFC's offensive player of the year last year. It's a lot of money to throw at the wide receiver position, but that's the money these guys are getting. And there is a level of pride that comes to being the top paid person at your job. So a lot of these guys do love the just, even if it's a short amount of time, but the title of being the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. It's a nice contract for him. Let's see if it works out. I think that they're really banking on this relationship between him and Sam Darnold and the passing game getting him back there. But I argue that without a balanced attack, it's going to be very difficult. And you've already lost a lot of key defensive players as well. So we'll see if Seattle can have the same kind of success that they had this year, next year. I don't know if this is going to be helpful towards that, though. But it's like the Carr brothers said a couple weeks ago. The cap salary is really just a fugazi. It's really just all just for people to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, we have a cap salary." They're just going to restructure his contract in 2 or 3 years, give him half of it up front, and then say, "All right, now we can allocate that money towards a running back." So
I still think they're going to get one. I just don't know who it is. If that's going to be a veteran running back that they can get on the cheap,
or maybe
or they
see
get somebody through a draft.
It's I hope that Jeremiah Love goes high enough where they aren't going to get a shot to take him. But at this point, I mean, it could be anybody. They could trade up as well and find some crazy deal with the Saints or something that the Saints prefer, and they can make something happen there.
And I'm
But
hearing a lot of people say, A-Chain is not
that's the other
traded,
one.
but he could very well get traded. And Seattle's been one of those top teams
But
that they keep mentioning. I don't see it here, but I can see him going to an NFC team before.
My issue with that trade, though, is you run into the same problem you had with Kenneth Walker, which is who are you going to pay? You going to pay A-Chain or you going to pay Charbonnet? And if you're that confident that Charbonnet is the guy for you, why trade for anybody at all?
Exactly.
Why just not wait for him to come back from the injury and then ride with him?
Get him back in the 3rd, 4th round.
Right. If you bring in someone like Devon, don't get me wrong, fantastic talent, would easily be one of the best pieces of that offense. But when it comes time to pay him, which is in what, about a year, 2 years?
Yeah, I think he's got 2 years left.
You're going to have to pay him big money because he is a big money running back, especially if he keeps progressing the way he does. So you're just going to have to come up to the same problem you had when it came down to Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. Who are you going to pay? And if you end up moving on from Charbonnet, great. But what was the point?
Yeah.
You could have kept Kenneth Walker for probably cheaper than you would have kept Charbonnet for. And he would have complemented just the same. So that's where my head is with.
And they had the money to pay the guy $8 to $12 million like he wanted
easily.
And I mean, they even said that they actually offered more, which a couple other teams in the NFL said they had reached out and offered more to Walker. But he wanted to be in Kansas City. He wanted to be in an AFC team with a good coach.
It's hard to walk away from Andy Reid in Kansas City.
Right. No matter what the injuries are right now.
I can't remember if it was LaShawn or if it was Emmanuel Acho, but somebody said it on their podcast and said it perfectly. He got a taste of what a Super Bowl tastes like, and he likes it.
Oh, yeah. He
wants to go back.
And the same thing I was going to ask you when we were talking about A-Chain, the Travis Etienne coming out saying it's not Etienne. It's A-Chain. I said, what? So he came out on a podcast late last week saying that you guys have been saying
sent me of him at the
saying his
podium?
last name is not what you guys have been calling me now that I've got a new team. I'd like to be called A-Chain because that's how you say my last name. He said, I ran with it, and you said, the one of the biggest things is trying to fight with the media, trying to say your
I
own
thought that
last
was
name.
AI. I thought that
I
was a
thought he was
joke.
joking. So did I. And A-Chains came out and said his last name is not A-Chain. So it is just one of those things.
Wait.
I've just given up because everyone knows him by
A-Chain
that.
I get because the name actually spells ACH. Like, that makes sense.
Mhm.
ETN is not.
We just call him A-Train at our
E-double-T-E.
house. So we call him A-Train, and I know it's not A-Chain.
What in the Louisiana dialect? Like, what
but I
is
believe
happening?
that's what he is. He's now in the South. And he said, when I was growing up,
I need someone
last
from
name
that
is
area.
A-Chain.
I need somebody from the Louisiana area. I don't care where you are. If you're in the bayou or if you're upstate, I don't care. Call us and let us know what this means, because there's no way.
I bring it up because do you think, we've talked about it even before pre-radio when we were just doing the podcast, but is Kamara finally on his way out of New Orleans?
I feel like that is coming sooner rather than later, but I don't know if it's coming in a way that he's going to be moving teams or he just retires.
Retiring.
Because again, he, like Mike Evans, just one of those guys that I personally could not see in a different uniform. But obviously with Mike Evans, there's always the opportunity that happens. I just feel like Alvin is he's the New Orleans guy. Like,
Yeah.
they shipped out the entire running back room when he was young just to keep him. And it's really weird to think that he potentially could not be there anymore. But yeah, no, I think it's coming sooner rather than later.
I think you just added. I think if it is, it'll probably be retirement.
I think so too.
I don't see him playing anywhere else.
A lot of these guys do talk and think about retiring a little earlier than a lot of the other guys did because of the damage that the game does to their body. And why not, retire at a point where you can at least sit there and say, okay, the team is in good standing. I got somebody here that I have kind of taught my ways and can pretty much take over. I think it's the perfect time. And the pairing between him and Travis is going to be really fun to watch if you're a Saints fan in general. If the Saints can actually put it together as a whole. I hope not, but it is what it is. I think this could be a really fun season, but it really also depends if the Saints make that big move for a Jeremiah Love. Because if they do make a move for Jeremiah Love, then he's definitely on the way out. Because now we're back to a 3 running back room with the Saints, and we all know what happened last time that happened. So I would hope that they do right by him whatever way this ends. I just kind of hope it ends in a retirement just because I don't want to see that guy in any other jersey.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think Alvin Kamara is a Saint. He is a New Orleans Saint and should end his career as a New Orleans Saint, if I'm being completely honest.
And I know you brought up the Carr brothers. Do you think that whole Carr coming out of retirement thing was just stirring it up?
No,
or
I think he's legit.
He really did think.
I think he is 100% legit that he feels that he could play again, and he probably could. But I just don't know if there's a lot of teams that are willing to actually reach out and pay him the money. And when you come out the way he did too, when there are specific guidelines that he wants, he has to be on a specific type of team. They have to be going for a Super Bowl. They have to. That just narrowed down all your possibilities.
Because most of those teams that are in that situation have a quarterback.
Right. And they don't necessarily need a guy to come in to be the bridge guy. Like, if you're coming in as a Derek Carr, your best bet is to go onto a team like the Colts or somebody that's right there, that's got an injured quarterback, maybe Atlanta, that's like right there, that's got a quarterback that they're really not 100% sure about. Then you could see that happening. But you would have to be the perfect fit to make it work. Because if they pay you all this money to come out of retirement and play for them, and you stink, the decision making is going to get thrown. I'm sorry, the blame is all going to get thrown on the decision making of the general manager,
and it'll be on the Saints.
Yes,
if they even allow you to do it.
Yes, 100%.
So, I mean, that's a lot of a lot of what ifs, and I know injuries happen and quarterbacks go down every year. That's why guys that we saw or never thought we would see again, like Phillip Rivers, the Flacco thing has been rolling around. And that's why a lot of them that come and go.
And Philip is exactly why I believe he was legit about it, because he sees these guys coming out and doing the same thing. But again,
He's like, I could do that.
exactly. I think a lot of athletes believe that, especially like recently retired athletes sit there and say, I still got it. I can go back and play if I wanted to. And they get bored. They get bored being at home all the time. But at that point,
That's why they
again,
do podcasts.
exactly. When you put so many stipulations on your unretirement of who you'll go back to play for, it's actually better if you just come out and say, I'll only play for this team, and this team, because at least we know who would be on the docket. But if you're just going to throw it out in the ether and say, I will only come back for a specific type of team that's a Super Bowl contender and is going to be taking it seriously and paying me seriously, that's a lot to ask for when you're a guy that hasn't seen an NFL football field in over a year.
Could you see him in Pittsburgh?
Yes, I absolutely could, especially if the Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out,
Yeah.
or if Aaron decides to retire and Will Howard doesn't work out. Like, I could totally see them reaching out to DC, especially midseason, saying, hey, you good to go? Because we need a guy. And I could totally see him answering that call. Same with the Vikings. If the Vikings and Kyler Murray does not work out and JJ McCarthy does not work out, would not be surprised if Kevin gives him a call and says, hey, bud, you ready to go? And I would not be surprised if he answers that call. But at the same time, there's a lot of stipulations you put on it. So I think it's legit. I think he's 100% like being honest that he could and would come back to play. I just don't think that the way you put it out there is going to make that happen right away. You're going to have to either wait till midseason when one of these teams punt on their quarterback and desperately need an answer, or like I said about the Colts or the Falcons or something, you take a shot with a team that right now does not look like they have a shot at a Super Bowl and you make them a Super Bowl contender. But either way, he's going to have to make that decision on if he's willing to, levy back on some of those stipulations he put out there for the unretirement. Let's take a break real quick. We got a couple things to get to before our guests of the day. CSUB has found their next head coach. We'll let you know who that is. And Syracuse has done the exact same thing, bringing back one of their most beloved players to be their new head coach as well. We'll talk about both of those decisions right after this. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back.
Holding on to me.
I wish we had more time to play this. We'll play more of the songs later on in the week, but my guy Joshua did make it today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are we feeling?
A little rushed, but I had plenty of time to get here.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I apologize for
No,
that, but we did have
fine.
guests at the 8 o'clock, so I had to push it up a little
No,
bit.
you've been more than compensated.
But we will get you back on, get more details out about the entire album. But you dropped a couple new songs, I hear.
Yeah, I dropped an EP, all on my own, just no band this time. A lot of it's acoustic. It's I mastered it for headphones specifically, so it's like an environment that you get to capture and
Awesome.
live inside sonically. A lot of harmonics. I got better at playing harmonics, a lot of skills I learned. But the thing captures the whole album is called A Map to Apathy.
Is it really? Okay. So where can people listen to it real quick before we got get into the details?
Anywhere and everywhere you use for music. So
Okay.
Spotify, YouTube, etc.
Just look up Masquerade of the Poet and it'll be the first EP there. So what was the inspiration for these songs real quick?
I've recently dealt with a lot of death, so it captures the from the point of view of grief, not a person going through grief, but grief itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't want to get too deep into that because obviously we'll get into a little bit into some stuff that we don't need to right now. But what kind of got the inspiration going besides the passings? Like, is it more of just like you kind of felt you had to get this out, or was it more of you just caught a wind of inspiration and they kind of ran with it?
I always wrote sad music from post wreckage, and I wrote this one from inside the box, and I felt like Masquerade's going to make a change, and I'm going to start doing episodes. I'm going to write episodes from the episode.
Fantastic. So, and they could where is that going to be? YouTube or
same way I've been releasing like this one. So okay. I'm going to just keep dropping them. I'm not going to set dates like this one every year or whatever. I'm just going to drop them rapidly throughout the year, just whether it's a 4-song EP, 5-song EP, whatever it is.
Fantastic. Well, each time you do, just let us know, my friend. And obviously you are more than welcome to come back on. We'll have you on again probably later this week, if not next week, to pump up more about the songs. Is that good?
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Thank you for your short time. I apologize. I know that we rushed you over here.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So next time we will get more out of you in terms of the Masquerade of the Poet and where everybody can check you guys out. Go to Spotify and all of that to go check out the new releases. Yes, he will be live on TikTok as well. We got to take a break. On the other side, we got the Mage Laugh Monday, guys. We'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. I know one of these days we got to just make that a drop. And you notice I made you the No Chance in Hell drops in there too?
No,
No? Are they not there?
I have no idea.
Oh. I was like, I thought I put them in there, but I might not have. I might have just actually uploaded it and never actually did it. But yeah, I made you that No Chance in Hell drop we talked about too. But it's time to talk to our guys from Made You Laugh Mondays. Well, at least one of them. Trevor showed up. Tyson didn't.
Yeah, Tyson. Guys, Tyson, I guess, got pulled away last minute. He's doing fine, but wishes he could be here. And Spark, I totally get the. Did you make him? What's going on? That's totally me and Tyson every Monday.
We go through a committed one, so
yeah, I thought I made it. I'm probably wrong though. There's so much that we end up doing throughout the day that I'm probably wrong.
I've never even heard of her, so
well, it is what it is. Good to
actually
see you.
Saw him at the well over the weekend.
Oh, did you really?
He's a busy guy. But I didn't see you. You actually have a day off?
Yeah, I just decided I finally needed to take a day off because I knew this week coming up was just going to be insanity for me. So I was like, let me take a day off because I know I've got Jaybird show coming up. I've got
that's this week too, right?
That's the beginning of next week. But I've got recording for the D&D podcast and all kinds of things, and my birthday coming up over the weekend. So I don't want to be the guy that's like,
me too.
Oh, really? When's yours?
I'm the 27th.
Oh, nice. I'm the 29th. Awesome,
There
man.
we go.
Oh, look at that. You're dang near birthday buddies.
Late March gang. Awesome.
Let's just put it on the 28th. We'll have a birthday party for both of you.
We'll be out at Dionysus. They're doing their 10-year anniversary out at Dionysus.
I mean, hey man, if you want to hang out for the MSU UConn game on your birthday, I'm down.
Oh, there you go. I thought we were doing emo night for your birthday.
I will do both. I am in for both.
You will not see me at emo
Ah,
night.
come on! I thought we were getting you at emo night.
Oh, I thought you guys were being serious. I got excited.
No. It's
Condors night.
Condors has their 2000s appreciation night, but it's the emo night.
That's what it ends up being.
I'm an 80s kid, so I don't think the 2000s.
That's more my speed.
I mean, why not both? That's what I was, man. I turned. I think it was I turned Spirit Week Friday at my high school into #1 fan week because me and a bunch of my friends would just always show up in band t-shirts, and they're like, how do we get them to support anything? Oh, I don't know, make it #1 fan. Then, and if they wear their band t-shirts, they're technically counted.
I see the logic there.
All us punks and emo kids were like, outsmarted by the student council again.
Yes, that I did the same thing in high school, so it was either that or wearing some purple Ridgeview Wolfpack gear. I was like, that's not gonna happen.
No, I mean, luckily I went to Garces, so I could just throw on a green shirt. I love the color green, so
okay.
I don't have any issues whatsoever. But speaking of green, your Michigan green has been doing, or Michigan State green, I should say, has been doing pretty good.
Yeah, excited about that. They're doing a little bit better than I thought. I know that it feels great, but it also hurts to watch Cohen Carr play so well because I know with every performance he just gets that closer to leaving us.
Absolutely. Well, either transferring or getting drafted, either way.
Oh, he's leaving for the draft.
You think so?
There are with those kind of skills and that vertical, how many scouts are salivating right now?
We were talking about other players that are projected to be top 5 picks, and they're like, well, we have to ask our mom. We're gonna talk to the mom first.
AJ is smart in that regard. You always got to get mama's permission first.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, this next draft is supposed to be pretty dang deep. It would be really impressive if it's mostly just freshmen and sophomore players. So I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps in there with AJ and everybody else.
Yeah, I think he's a junior now.
Is
so
he a junior?
It's about time. Like
he was a sophomore.
I think. Oh no, he might be a sophomore. I'm trying to remember which one it is. But the Spartan faithful, the second we saw this guy, we're like, we are not going to keep him all 4 years. This is not happening.
No, honestly, he is the most talented player I have seen play for Michigan State since probably Draymond. Because Draymond, when he was in college, was actually pretty dang good.
Physically gifted, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
As far as between the ears, I would still give that to Draymond.
Yeah.
Draymond is still the smartest basketball player I've ever seen play for Michigan State.
See, whatever Draymond decides to do after he retires, whether it's go to the booth and essentially fill in when Chuck retires or go and coach, I think he's going to be great.
Oh, absolutely. That was the one thing that because I was at Michigan State at the same time as Draymond and Kirk Cousins to kind of get you guys
that's a hell of a time.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. I remember about half of it.
As you should.
As great times. But no, I remember all of us thinking like none of us really thought that he would make it as far as he did in the NBA. We're like, oh, he'll be a great sixth man.
Right.
That'll be his career. He'll be NBA sixth man of the year a few times, and then he'll retire, become a coach, or go to the booth, and he'll become one of those guys.
I think I can honestly say if he didn't get drafted to the Golden State Warriors, it would have been a wrap. It probably would have went that way.
Exactly.
But because he was part of those dynasty teams,
he's a perfect fit for it.
He was the perfect guy to facilitate the offense. Like it really just worked out for him. And I think that's why he hasn't been moved, really, because
absolutely.
Much like we were talking about with Alvin Kamara, it's a one jersey guy. I don't think will ever see him play for anybody else besides the Warriors.
And and at this point, like, would anyone else on that team live and die for that jersey the way Draymond would? Like, that you need that in the locker room.
Yeah,
like if nothing else, like you need.
He is the Udonis Haslam of the Warriors. He's not going anywhere.
No, not at all.
Absolutely not.
I mean, I think I realized that from the moment they were playing. Oh God, what prison were they playing like the promo game at against somebody, and Draymond was in the back playing dominoes with the inmates. And I'm like, oh, this man is exactly where he needs to be.
I did not see that.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
It was a. I can't remember where they were playing. Because I think they were doing something a lot like what Izzo does, where they'll play like games on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't remember what like a penitentiary they were playing a game at, or NBA. It was an exhibition game, I want to say. And
this had to have been during the preseason.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I'm fairly certain it was. But once I saw that moment, I'm like, oh, Draymond's exactly where he needs to be.
That's hilarious. I need a visual of this. That's so
perfect.
awesome.
Like it was just a shot of him slapping something down. I'm like, he's exactly where he needs to be.
Domino.
20 points. Put it on the board.
Going back to Coach Izzo, though, you guys got a tall order taking on Dan Hurley and UConn coming up next.
Beat them, please.
I mean, yeah, but they play a very similar style to what we do. So I feel like if we can out rebound them, we got them. And oh, that's right, it's Michigan State, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Like,
yep.
we rebound. We do rebounding drills in football pads for a reason.
And UCLA gave them fits last night. There were moments where I thought UCLA was going to be able to at least make a run, but UConn is UConn, and it's really good. I said at the beginning of the show, it's going to come down to which team is going to get coached better.
Yeah. And I also think with UCLA, unfortunately, it's a question of which UCLA team you get any given night.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the okay UCLA team. They're the one we've seen most of the season where they'll show you some flashes, but they're not really going to sustain it the whole game.
Absolutely. Well, and you guys have a star on the team, whereas they're kind of still trying to find one. I think Jeremiah is easily the best player on your guys' team. So it's easy to kind of funnel through the guard that's the best player, whereas a team like UCLA really didn't have that. So do you think that UConn's going to be able to actually keep up with you guys in that regard? Because they got multiple guards that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think the two keys for Michigan State are rebounding and just run. I think Fear's playing up high paced, and then having our kick out guards being Scott and I'm trying to remember our other guy that just started playing good, Travis. It'll come to me later.
Just the fast pace, getting the boards and fast pace, and hopefully they can keep track. I'm rooting for you guys because everybody above me in my bracket has got UConn.
Oh, so you're like, I need some points. I did. I think I have State beating UConn and then losing to Duke, if memory serves. Because Duke, I think they have a little too much. There are times where I've seen the Spartans run out of gas in games, but the fact that to beat UConn, it looks like all we have to do is play to our strengths, which is rebound and run. I'm fine with that. Yeah, great. Play Spartan basketball, win game. Awesome. Sounds good.
Well, and Duke has been, to be fair, Duke at the beginning of this tournament looked like they were about to get bounced, but has really, really woken up since then. I was watching, who did they play in the second round?
Trying to remember.
I can't remember now, but whoever their second round matchup was, and the Boozer brothers were just
back to Duke basketball. Okay,
absolutely. It looked like they were playing when their daddy was playing. Like it was rough to watch the other teams.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the blue blood teams and experienced coaches are waking up and remembering, like, it's March, boys. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember how we play basketball?
And we heard that from the Duke guys after the game, where like, yeah, we thought this was just going to be a sell through, and we didn't really take it too serious, and now we're going to turn it on. That's another team that a lot of people in the brackets took. I went the other way just in case, but I went with Michigan. But I mean, after the only team I'm really worried about, Duke is always going to be Duke. They don't have the one good thing is they're running deep in one of these players and they're playing a lot of minutes and March Madness goes long. So the one thing that could catch up to them is fatigue. But once again, they have great coaching but the one team I'm worried about is Arizona. I just cannot stand and never been on the bandwagon of Arizona team. And I just want them out.
Absolutely.
I get it. It's weird that of the two teams that I think are probably the most likely to win the national championship, Arizona and Michigan, are the two that I like the least.
Yes.
Like, it feels,
and I'm the same with Arizona and Duke. So I get it.
Yeah, no, that's same here. I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a great tournament until the end. And then it's just all the teams I don't want to watch.
And again, is it because they're so dominant though? Or is it because they just, because of all the money they're throwing towards it, they're going to be there?
With Duke, it's just, I'm sick of seeing them there. It's just the constant,
they haven't won though in forever.
I mean, but they're a perennial Final Four team, and the Duke calls, because tell me you can watch a Duke game and not see the refs put their thumb on the scale a little bit.
At the same time, though, can you really see a March Madness tournament without the Duke Blue Devils in it?
Exactly.
I hope so.
Really?
I hope so.
I can't see it, dude. I don't know.
I still hate Christian Laettner, but there's plenty of time. I think Duke will probably be in there. But we've seen crazier things.
That's fair. And again, I don't have Duke in my Final Four, but I still I don't. Yeah, no. Michigan State I have coming out of that bracket. But again, I when it gets to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, I usually lean on the team that has the best coaching. And in my personal opinion, Coach Izzo is the best coach out of Dan Hurley in this entire
He
bracket.
Understands. He knows. I represent.
Again, it's Izzo, dude. Like, if there's one coach outside of Coach K, Rick Pitino, like Coach Izzo is legendary, and it's hard to pick against him.
So actually, here's one a question I've been kicking around with some of Spartan Nation that I want to pose to you. If Izzo somehow does the unthinkable, capital I, capital F, and wins it all, do you think he hangs it up?
He shouldn't, to be honest, because why stop at this one? It's like the Coach K thing. It's like, I understand why you coach that long because you love it. And honestly, you have the best job in the biz just being at one college, and you're not going to be going anywhere. I know there's always that want in sports to go out on top, to win a championship and ride off on your horse. But this isn't like a player. This is being a coach. You could do that multiple times. Like just keep going.
Right.
So I don't think he does. No, I think that he keeps going just because I won one. Why don't I want to go win another one next year? You know what? And the next year and make Michigan State the perennial powerhouse that I've always wanted it to be. Because let's be honest, much like Duke, y'all haven't been there for a long time.
Right. It's been a minute since we've had a Final Four.
So
and we haven't had a championship since 2000.
Exactly. So it's not like he's had one in the recent years.
Exactly.
If this is something like he had won 5 of the last 10, then sure. Yeah, absolutely. You could walk away from that and still be known as one of the best. But no, if he wins one, I think he comes back next year and says, we're going to do it again and again and again. Now, the likelihood of that happening is very small. But
oh yeah.
It's always going to be there.
No, it seems to be an even divide with the fans. Like, some of us think like, oh, he's gone. He's already chasing one last glory. Why wouldn't he just walk out the door if he wins?
If he was going to leave, I feel like it would have been a Nick Saban-like situation. I think he would have done it before NIL reached the peak it is now.
Okay.
Because a lot of these older coaches are retiring because of how different the game is. I don't think Izzo is going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody that can adapt and still be one of the best.
Yeah, no, I think the only thing that will run Izzo out of the game is someone is him getting in some actual hot water just for his normal yelling at a player for not boxing out.
Exactly. If his coaching style ends up getting him in trouble, then I can see him walk.
That's insane to me that it's even a discussion amongst the media. Like, oh, is he too hard on his players? He lets his players yell back at him.
We'll see. There are areas though where it's kind of it's the two sides of the coin thing, because Kansas, we're sitting here talking about Darrell Peterson and him pulling himself out, and it's like, is the coaching too lax over there for letting a player pull himself out all the time? So where's the middle ground kind of in today's game? You know what I mean? But again, that's why I'm just like, I prefer a guy like Izzo, because even though he
Mhm.
yells at you, he at least holds you accountable and you know it's winning basketball.
And not only that, but how many of his players do you see on senior day give him the biggest hug you've ever seen? And just like, coach, I'm going to miss you. You changed my life forever. Like, I feel like a lot of players want that. They want a guy that's going to be
especially
hard
in
on them.
college.
Exactly. To get to that next level when you're trying to try and be the best you be to see if you can make it pro, why not have the guy that's going to believe in you the most and be the hardest on you to push you the furthest you've ever been?
Well, and that's why these programs are looking for guys like Izzo and Dan Hurley, because I think what is going to be the next evolution of coaching, at least, is, especially at this level, how long you can keep those players at your school. Because this is a world where we talk about all the time. The smaller schools is essentially a recruiting tournament now for most of their players, because if your player does really well in the tournament, the big team that you're playing is just going to send as much money as they can to that player and say, come on over, kid. We want you to transfer. So if you want a good program, if you want to be a good coach, you're going to have to be that guy that can keep those star players there at least for 2 to 3 years before they inevitably decide either go pro or just move on with their lives and graduate. But that's something that Izzo and Dan Hurley and all of these guys have, is that you want to stay there until you're a senior. You don't want to leave when you're a freshman or a sophomore, because you know this is where you're going to get better.
This is where you're going to learn all of those skills and develop as a player.
But enough about the Spartans and glazing over the Spartans and whatnot. How is Major Laugh Mondays going?
Going great. It's been super fun. We've had consistent crowds every night, every Monday, which for an open mic, that's crazy to say. You'll get a lot of just dead nights as an open mic where you've got no fans whatsoever. But I guess we've built up a following, which is awesome to say. Thank you, fans that are out there who keep showing up, keep on showing up. It's fantastic.
It's the same location, obviously.
Same location, Rosedale Firehouse every Monday. You can show up we start setting up around 6 o'clock, a little bit before that. So if you want to hang out and talk comedy with us, cool. I don't know if you'd necessarily want to talk to me while I'm setting up my playlist, or Tyson while he's being a madman. So be prepared for that. But at some point we get the list set up around 6:30, and then from there we love hanging out and chatting.
What's on the playlist? Why can't you be talked to when you're on the playlist?
Just because I'm in the process of making it. I'm one of those guys where I'm not really good at multitasking. So if you talk to me while I'm like trying to set up the sign up sheet and work on the playlist, at one point something's gonna go wrong and
nip at somebody.
And I might just go, hey, can you sit down over
there? I've never seen you mad in my life. I don't think I've ever seen a moment where you're not happy.
Talk to half the comedy scene.
Apparently, I just haven't seen you at work. That's
you haven't seen me at work. You haven't seen someone when they're on the edge of stealing one of my jokes. Yeah, you haven't seen any of that. So
someone almost stole a joke.
Is that a bad thing? I mean, not a bad thing. Obviously, there's a very bad thing.
A cardinal sin to a lot of comics, but to me, it is like there's no worse transgression, because I'm so passionate about the craft of writing.
Of course.
So to take that shortcut is like, there's nothing more unthinkable.
Well, that goes into a question I wanted to ask, and it kind of came over me over the weekend, and I'm not going to throw out any names or any bashing of comedians.
No, please.
But the difference between, guys like you that work at their task of getting better and being just better every time you get on the stage. I'm sure it's the same thing as athletes or whatever, but I'm seeing over the years, obviously, the social media stars turned comedian, I guess you would call that, or social media influencer / comedian. I don't know what that name is,
exactly how to put that.
But you can tell the difference if you've seen somebody on social media and you've seen the 5 or 6, okay, well, that was pretty funny.
I want to make a joke.
But then I go into, say, a show in the last month or so. I went and the headliner was a social media type person, but I get out of it more of the 2 or 3 opening acts, because I could tell that's from their mind. That's from, you can read it off them, how they deliver the whole thing. And I don't know if that is something that's good or negative with the comedy world. I mean, probably, obviously, we want more comedians trying to test it out. But do you see that overall, where whether it's a new comedian that's just kind of taking something that they've saw in a social media video and kind of turned it in their own way, or does that kind of take away from the style of, having a new comedian that, practices, goes to these open mics, goes to, all the shows that they can to get better.
I mean, you see it. The thing that I hate is the influence that it has, and that it's even popping up. But the thing that I love about comedy is that the audience is the great equalizer. That laughter is the great equalizer. If something doesn't work, if something's not worked out, if you're not really on the top of your game and that funny, the audience is going to sense it, and they're not going to respond. And you can see when certain dudes are like, oh, why did that joke not work? Oh, why is this not working? And you're like, dude, because it's just a meme that you barely reworked. It's a street joke that you didn't even touch up. It's stuff people have heard time and time again, and all you're trying to do is hope your personality carries you through because 3 people at your office told you, hey, you're a funny guy, you should try being a comedian. And now you're hoping that that'll push you through. Like, guy, what are you doing? You got to spend more time on stage and working on your craft.
Absolutely.
And on the other side, it's a bummer that there are some comedians turned social media stars where people haven't seen the come up and the craft and the grinding it out at open mics. And the best example I can think of are Michael Blaustein and Trevor Wallace.
Yes.
Hilarious dudes, amazing with crowd work. But I've open mic'd with both of those guys, and those guys are dedicated to their craft as well. And they come up with some really good material, and they work it, and they were working it out. This was before they blew up, but I had seen like, oh, these are guys that are working their craft. So when I see them do crowd work, I don't hate on them for it. Like, hey, that's just you taking, and that not only that, but that's probably taking them one sliver of their show, or maybe even half of their show, and the rest of them is their material. So what they're showing to the outside world and to social media, that's just
working it.
That's just to feed the algorithm. That's just to feed the view and the like machine. That's all it is. It's a promo. So that I don't mind. But when that's your whole act, when you're one of these guys that's only a crowd work comic and you never work on material, then at that point, are you even really a comedian anymore? Or are you just a performer?
That's kind of funny you bring that up, because I think guys like Matt Rife get a lot of grief for that, even though if you've gone to a Matt Rife comedy show, you know that's not all he does. He has specific shows where it's nothing but crowd work, but it's very well like told to you when you're walking in, hey, this is just solely going to be crowd work. It's not going to be a set. But do you think that do you see a lot of comedians going straight for the crowd work scene just because they know that's what blows up online?
I think that's exactly what they're doing. They want to take a lot of them. They just want to, okay, how do I get my name out there? How do I get famous? How do I get to where I need to go? And that's kind of one of the shames of comedy sometimes, is that the exposure sometimes equals what your opportunities are rather than what your skills are.
That's kind of how life is in general these days, though. Anybody, and like even us, I mean, in this line of work, you have to have exposure. If you have more viewers, that's a good thing. And that's just kind of how the world is kind of progressing.
Well, and the other side of our business is, where there's everybody and their cousin do a podcast, and they're just trying to get that, catch me moment, or they just say wild crap off their shoulder. Yeah. And they're like, okay, we have a podcast. And then they run that reel over and over and over. And I, as a big fan of comedy, just seeing the comedians, I've gone to several shows, whether it was here or out of town, and I've always left like, hey, that second comedian that came on, didn't know we were going to see him, and he stole the show. And that's what I always love going into open mics, going into any of these local comedy shows, because I always leave with 3 or 4 comedians now that I'm following and I want to go see live. And it's just the beautifulness of the scene. And going into the Well show on Saturday, I knew who the headline was because we got to talk to her, but I left that night laughing with my wife and saying, dude, Anthony killed it. Like I've gone and seen Anthony at open mics where he has told me I bombed. I'm sorry. It's part of the craft, which it was always cool, but seeing a local comedian that's growing from the bottom and kind of finding his comfy zone, it was cool to see.
Oh, and at a show, you're always going to see something different, because again, that's the stuff that we're prepared for. We've worked it, and we know, okay, it's the play that you've ran a dozen times, and okay, that corner's playing a little shallow. I can work this play on them. Perfect, let's go.
Right,
and
is the more you do it, and obviously the easier it gets for you. And it's like you said too, it's all about the delivery, right?
It's a combination of everything. The way I really like to describe it is, and I don't know if I've brought this up before on your show before. I'd like to describe comics as because there's two kind of generic or general categories that comics fit into when they start out and like their natural abilities, and I kind of compare them to pocket passers and read option quarterbacks. Because the pocket guys are like me. We run our plays, we run our jokes.
Yep.
We know exactly what we're doing. We know how to manage what we're doing.
Very up and down.
Exactly. Whereas guys who are a little more in the moment, freewheeling, do a little more crowd work, they're more the read option. Hey, let me see what the room's going to give me and just riff,
right,
and just go with it.
Right.
And I feel like to really be as with a great quarterback, to be a great comedian, you have to do a bit of both, at least a bit of both. You have to have both skill sets at the very least.
That's awesome. I know we're running out of time, so I want to pump up the open mic one more time.
Major Laugh Mondays, every Monday night, 6:30 signups officially. If you want to show up a little earlier, cool, awesome, great to hang out. 7:00 show, and don't forget the burger and fries special every Monday.
And I know Tyson will be there. Is there anybody else that we know of for sure?
Tyson will be there. I believe John Hacker's going to be there tonight.
Nice.
I need to check in with Andrew Boydston. He usually comes through. Bobby Ortiz is usually there. Let me see who else have we
That's
brought.
a hell of a show right there.
Yeah, I mean we've got a fistful of others that are just the regulars and are fantastic. I know Smashy P is usually there. Let me see who else. It's usually like at least 12 comics deep, bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like that's a light show for us. Usually we've got like 20 people there, and there's some guys. Actually, I think the Fresno crew has been coming down lately. So yeah, you'll get comics from all over the Central Valley.
Fantastic. And all of them get about what, 2-3 minute set?
Tyson and I like to be generous. 5-minute sets for everyone, unless we're looking at like 40 comics, then maybe
Yeah,
we'll go to
say you guys got about 20. You're there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we usually do an hour and a half show. Sometimes it's a couple. So yeah, you'll get a good taste.
Of time then.
You'll get a good taste of the whole scene. If you're there late, you'll see the young guys just freewheeling and throwing out and just going nuts. Because it's late. They just like to say what they want to say and have a good time. And
naturally,
it may turn into a bit. You may never hear it again.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, sir. Thank you so much for your time. As always, we appreciate you. Hopefully Tyson is okay, and whatever work emergency came up, he'll be here next week.
How do they find your podcast?
Podcast that is Rolling with Comics. You can find that's if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, that is with myself, Jaybird, Andrew Boydston, and John Hacker are all on a D&D podcast together. Rolling with Comics. You can find it anywhere you find your podcast.
How often do you guys drop episodes?
We usually try and drop episodes once a week, but I think Jaybird might have missed last week. But yeah, we usually record every other week and then chop it into 2 episodes.
Fantastic. Well, if you're a fan of D&D or if you're just a fan of comedy, go out to Major Laugh Mondays tonight at the Firehouse on Rosedale. You'll see our guy Trevor here, and plus many, many more that we've already talked to on this show. So, sir, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you.
Good to be here.
We got to take a break. We got our guy Snacks on the other side, talk all things basketball. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. It is cold. Will's got this AC on like.
I'm sweating my ass off.
Are you really?
That's that steroid that gave me.
You know what, dude?
Red face.
It is two separate AC. Again, peeling back the curtain here. We in this studio we have two separate ACs. Sparky's is on a completely different one than mine. Mine is shared with the guys in the hot studio. And Romeo runs hotter than me apparently because it feels like an igloo in this place. But it is what it is. Welcome back to the early bird special. We're gonna talk all things basketball with our guys Snacks. There's a whole bunch going on, not just March Madness, but the NBA had a couple stories break yesterday as well that I have to get his thoughts on. Sir, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. At least you guys have air in your studios. Mine is you want to come visit the
You're
devil.
still
Come in
down,
mine anytime.
dude. That is
That's
awesome.
how it feels
I'm
in
so
here.
sorry.
I'm sweating it out in here.
It might be the pills for you though, my friend, especially if they gave you some. But I don't know, man. How is your landlord not fixed your AC? Man? I'm not to throw your business out there like that. But,
Oh no, it's not my apartment. I'm talking about studio. My studio.
your
Yeah,
studio and
hits.
hits. Okay, that's
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
The
no,
AC don't hit and hits.
no, it does not. It does not hit at all.
Yeah.
And you got that big old window behind you too, which makes it even worse. You're absolutely right.
Me and the devil and his disciples hang out on my show. So.
That is hilarious. What are your thoughts on the March Madness tournament so far, my friend? Any big upset that you weren't expecting at all?
No, I've been enjoying every bit of March Madness. It's been everything we asked for, especially with with the first number one going out yesterday.
Yep.
As expected. And I just love everything about March Madness. You just don't know what you can get. You really don't.
So I did have one thing that I had to ask you about. It was during round one, so we haven't gotten a chance to talk to you about it since then. It was the Kentucky Santa Clara game. I don't know if you saw this or if you were watching this game at all, but with time running down, there was no timeout called for Herb Sednick for Santa Clara when he was trying to call it. Kentucky gets down to the other side against lackadaisical defense, or chalks up a three. It goes in. They get to go to overtime. As a referee, how do you kind of address that? Because he was trying to wave down the guy that was in front of him. There was one behind him. If you're that referee that can clearly see the coach calling a timeout, but he's not calling it at you, do you call it for him, or does it have to be directly called at you?
Well, there's a couple of things that needed to be happening here. If you know as a coach that you want a timeout, wrap in a made basket, it's best that you go stand right next to the referee.
Right.
Especially in moments like this, because as a referee, and as an official, we have so many other, like we're thinking the game ahead. So if he makes this basket, what can happen? But I also know this team doesn't have, this team has a timeout. So as an official, he could have looked back, he could have ran looking back over his shoulder to see if the coach wanted a timeout before taking off, becoming the new lead, which is trail new lead. Also, as an official, as a coach, know where the officials are standing. So you know that ref is going to be taken off down court. You're still going to have one here on the baseline, administering the ball in. So why not turn to the official on the baseline and ask for a timeout?
That's what I couldn't understand. That's why it's like
see you.
That's why I was confused. Is like, does it have to be like? Do you have to look at the referee dead in the face and say timeout, or can any referee, if they hear a coach yelling timeout, just call it?
Yeah, any ref can call it, but we have to see it and acknowledge it.
Right.
So if we don't see it, we can't acknowledge it. And so, in a position of the game like that, when time is winding down, everybody's going crazy. The lead official, I promise you, I didn't go back and watch the play, but I promise you, he's looking at inbound boundaries, like a inbounder stepping over the line. Is there going to be a quick foul on the inbounds? Slot is probably looking at his second half of the play. And the trail running back down the floor, who's becoming the new lead, is probably looking at players, because we all have an obligation on the floor. So I know a lot of people think all three officials, what are you looking at? Well, I'm not watching the same thing my other two partners are watching. Right. So I know I didn't see it. So it's a learning lesson for everybody in the thing, but for coaches out there, if you're in a close game like that, and you know you're going to want to call a timeout, you either express that to the officials. Hey, if they make the basket, I'm going to want a timeout. Because as an official, I go ask coaches, hey, are you going to want a timeout if they make the basket?
Right.
Or coming out of the timeout, are you looking for a quick foul or a steal and then a quick foul? Or I'm looking for a steal and a quick foul. Okay, cool. I know not to blow the whistle so fast in times like that. So it's a communication thing that could have been a little bit better between the coach and the referee.
Right. And that's really what it boils down to. But it was a weird situation that they highlighted. I wasn't 100% sure why the timeout wasn't called to begin with, but it didn't matter. Kentucky made the basket anyway, and they went to overtime and won by 5. But at the end of it all, it was just a really weird thing to see from a referee situation. So with the Sweet 16 set right now, though, is there any matchup that you're excited to watch?
I don't know, because Spice asked me this the other day, but I would love to see Michigan. Who I would like to see in the actual championship game is Michigan State. I don't know. We might have to start calling March Izzo, because I don't know what he does with his team. Michigan State, they just come to play every March Madness for whatever reason, man. So that's what I want to see in the actual championship. As far as the Sweet 16 game, I just want to continue to see good games and like upsets. So.
Well, with that being said,
do you all have any?
I mean, the one that Sparky had brought up earlier that I kind of agree with him is that Iowa-Nebraska game. I like the fact that Iowa is on fire right now, just took down Florida. And the other one that he brought up as well was Houston, Illinois, correct, my friend? And what were you looking at that one?
Going to be tight. I mean, overall, I've got Michigan taking it all, but it was just because everybody in my bracket was taking Duke or Arizona, so I had to switch it up. But I would love to see Michigan, take it. I also have Houston up in there in the Final Four, so I'd be happy with any of them. I am not a Duke fan, have never been a Duke fan, and will never be a Duke fan, but they've got a squad, dude.
As the last ACC team, it is kind of hard to vote against them. But I think it's just weird that there's a possibility we could potentially see a Final Four of Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, and Iowa State. I don't know if I can.
That'd be wild. And I don't have a bracket in front of me to see like who's remaining. Because I watched so much basketball this weekend. I was just excited to see good basketball.
Absolutely.
But yeah, to see that in the Final Four would be crazy. Because again, those are teams you didn't like. People are not talking about all year, but they've been good. Like for instance, St. Louis University. Like I'm from St. Louis, and I had no idea they were that good.
And then moving over to the NBA, I know some stories I pulled that I wanted to bounce off you. One, we didn't get to because it happened right after we talked to you after the show last week. But the big injury with Cade Cunningham and what he's dealing with, as well as I saw Durant pass Jordan on the 5th of the NBA all-scoring team. Is that really a feat for a guy that's played that many years? Or and the number one thing I brought up is the Cade Cunningham. I mean, they haven't put a set if he'll return this year, but that type of injury, you would think they would take it slow, right?
I saw 4 to 6 weeks full recovery.
Yeah, I just think, man, the way these dudes are getting injured, you just have to take. I'm one of those people that are shocked. I'm sorry for keep getting off topic that Tatum came back as early as he did.
Yeah, same here.
He had I'm the fan. Like, bro, just wait till next year. Your team is doing good. Just sit it out, because we just those type of superstars you want to see play for a long time. So the Cade Cunningham, I think when you get injuries like that, I like just sit out as long as you can until like the time is right. But I also didn't know that Tatum had been practicing for a couple weeks and practicing with the G League team for a couple weeks and getting game speed before that happened. So that all makes sense of why he came back so early. But those type of injuries, I'm a big fan of just sitting out until your body fully recovers, because then it's not about why you're playing, it's what happens when you're done with the game and how your body is affected and those things. And I know these dudes like to listen to fans and, man, get out there and play. But that's coming from a fan who's probably betting on you. So, man, the hell with you. No, I'm worried about my body and how it's going to be affected, how I'm going to be walking knock-knee because I'm trying to please the fans. The hell with the hell with that. And as far as Kevin Durant, so many records gonna be broken because these dudes somehow keep getting hurt but playing longer.
Right.
They're having longer careers. I don't know how this works, but
well,
that time off really helps.
I was looking at that too because I mean, if you look at it right now, he's 5th. He just passed Jordan. Next up is Kobe, which is I think like 1,200, 1,400 in front of him. He would have to play another 3 or 4 years just to catch up to Kareem and Karl Malone, who are 2 and 3. And that's not even counting LeBron, who's still playing right now. I mean, he's going to end number 2, I would assume. But that would also assume that he scores 26 points a game, plays 65 games for the next 4 years and into his 40s. So do you think that's actually going to happen?
First, I'd like to congratulate you on your great math skills.
I apologize. I had to break it down for myself yesterday because I was like, okay, if this is going to continue, how long will it take for him to surpass Kareem, which is about 3-4 years?
I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Well, actually, with Durant, I don't, because he hasn't really been injury prone. He just set out a lot of games. So
right.
I can actually see him playing another 3, maybe 4. Now, averaging 26 a game. With those his later years coming down the stretch, I don't see 26, but maybe still in the 18 range. So he will get close. I agree with you. Like the 2, he'll end up in a 2 or 3 spot.
Because there's no way he catches LeBron if LeBron continues at this pace. Even if LeBron retires next year or the year after, I would assume.
Yeah, for sure.
He's never going to retire.
LeBron probably got like 2, 3 more.
LeBron's going to die on the
LeBron's
court.
never going to retire.
Oh, my Lord.
I did see, speaking of Jordan, I saw they won another NASCAR race over the weekend.
Did they really?
Continues to win. They're asking about March Madness. He said March Madness is happening on the tracks.
At this point, I mean, is it the same racer, too, that won?
Yep.
My God, he might as well just snatch that cup and run away with it.
Ever since they won that case, they've been winning everything.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they were the first team to actually win the first 3 races ever in NASCAR history or something like that. It was actually pretty impressive. I haven't been keeping up with it since then, but to hear them win a 4th one isn't that surprising.
And the last thing I wanted to hear from you was the whole Luka thing.
Yeah.
Another technical, but this one, for some reason, they took away the suspension for a game or what?
To be fair, he has gotten 16 technicals twice with Dallas. Both times they receded the 16th technical, just like this time. My question to you is, how difficult is it for a player to get a technical foul from you guys? Let's start there.
Well, it's not very difficult depending on the official because a lot of officials don't. With NBA is different. Okay. NBA and FIBA let's just set them aside because that's entertainment. College and high school, it's not very hard because a lot of officials don't have patience, nor thick skin, or put up with a lot. So it's like once you go over that line, here comes the technical. As far as the Luka situation, it's like him and Draymond. I don't know what you really have to do to change it. Like that comes down to the league. Like I think you're going to have to suspend Luka for a certain amount of games for him to understand you just can't be out here acting like this.
But see, they were supposed to 3 times and receded it all 3 times. Like they clearly have no intention of keeping him off the court.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're going to have to go through one of these suspensions, like to get him to understand, like we can't have you out here acting like this. And I haven't talked to any of the NBA officials, and probably this summer I'll ask the question like, "Hey, how do y'all handle Luka?" Like, because you need to know these things if you're going into that space.
Absolutely.
Like, what is too far? Like what is you all's guidelines before you be like, okay, I'm enough with you? Because a lot of NBA officials, because I've done the Lakers practice, and these dudes be talking crazy to each other. Really? I mean, the stuff they say to each other and officials, like, and you be like, oh, they didn't throw a technical to that. But they'll also remind you that you have to understand that professional sports at the end of the day is still entertainment.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think the league at some point will have to go through one of these suspensions, but like, all right, enough is enough.
It's happened
Because-
3 times. Like, you would assume after a while they would stop cutting him this slack, but clearly they just don't want him off the court for the Lakers, who are red hot right now. They're going for their 10th straight win tonight against the Pistons. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, unless you want him to keep doing this, he's gonna keep jawing at every player because he knows that you're just gonna take the tech away from him.
Yeah, that's kind of like somebody keep doing a crime and they go to the case and they keep getting off. So now the more they keep getting off, the more invisible they see. Like that I can't be messed with. So I'm just going to keep getting technicals.
Right.
And at this point, it looks like it's fun for him to get technical.
I think it's just kind of part of his game at this point. He just talks. He just talks too much, and a lot of these players don't like it, so they get in his face, and that causes double techs. Because that's essentially what happened here against the Magic.
Yeah, he just talks trash all game, and it gets other people's skin, and then he'll say stuff in different language. That probably really piss you off, and then it's like, okay, now I got to retaliate.
That's what Kobe was good at.
2 things need to happen. Either somebody eventually going to swing on him and don't care that he's a superstar of the league, or the league going to have to like actually suspend him for a certain amount of games to like get him to understand. Because why did Draymond get suspended?
Maybe they do need to cover themselves. Maybe we need a little bit of a hockey theme here, and they just have somebody, an enforcer, just go shut him up.
Yeah, but also players know who to talk to and who not to talk to. Like, you're not going to go, he ain't going to be talking crazy to nobody on Detroit, I tell you that.
Yeah, no, not against this team. Not against these bad sports talk. Welcome back. Final segment of the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Real quick before we get out of here, if you are in the local area and you would like to come out and hang out with us today, we'll be out at Batesville Country Club at the Honor Flight Open. I believe you can come down starting around 10 o'clock, 10:30 with a tee off around 11. Come donate to the Honor Flight. They are a fantastic, fantastic charity that takes our local veterans to Washington, D.C. to go see their war memorials. And honestly, a lot of these people deserve this. They have never been and never really get praised like they should. So come out and join us. Plus, if you're a CSUB fan, they have found their new head coach, or at least hopeful new head coach, in USC assistant coach Todd Lee. He was a former CSUB assistant coach back in 94 to 97 when we were in D2 ball and won the D2 national championship in 97. I would listen out for the Greg Kerr show if you're here locally from noon to 2. I'm sure he will talk plenty about this. Plus, Syracuse has decided they will be bringing back Jerry McNamara as their new head coach as well. The former Siena head coach has decided he will move back to Syracuse. He was on the staff for God knows how long and is one of the most beloved players in his time there from 2002 to 2006. We'll talk about this and much, much more tomorrow when we return 7 to 9. But until then, enjoy your Monday. Hopefully, you guys have a good one. Sparky, let's get out of here.